Welcome. Discussions are a very common part of online courses. They are one of the primary ways for engagement and interaction to occur online. With an online discussion, you, the instructor, provide a prompt that students respond to. A good prompt is essentially a question or problem that you present that will not have one clear correct answer and is open-ended. Students then post their initial responses to your prompt and follow up with reply posts to other classmates throughout the discussion period. A single discussion period is often about 1 week. This length allows time for students to make their initial post and then follow up with replies in a timely manner to keep the discussion lively. For course discussions to be robust and most beneficial to students, participation should be required and graded in some way. This motivates students to perform their best and to participate actively. So, how do you grade them? Let's consider this. Do you think, "Yes, I agree," is an acceptable reply post that would earn grading points in an online discussion? Most online instructors would not consider this to be acceptable. This level of response does not require much thought or contribute to the genuine learning community. To keep the quality of contributions high, you need to set clear expectations, and students need to understand the importance of their participation. You can accomplish both of these things and make grading discussions much easier by creating a rubric. Rubrics can be great tools to assess the quality of students' discussion or level of a discussion participation. They spell out the expectations you have of students and help you to do objective grading, especially when there are multiple sessions of a course. Please feel free to contact your instructional designer to implement these grading strategies. But let's briefly talk about the categories of information you would probably include in a discussion rubric. The general categories of information that are useful for grading online discussion posts include frequency and deadlines, format and writing, content, attitude and spirit, and teamwork and peer review. Let's take a look at these categories in some detail. Discussion posting frequencies and deadlines are typically assessed in online teaching. Usually an instructor will ask students to post their initial opinions or thoughts by a certain deadline, and then also require that each student respond to at least 2 other students' postings within a designated time frame. Many institutions emphasize improving students' writing skills throughout the course of study. Writing format, organization of information, and proper citations are also frequently required by the instructor in online courses and can be assessed in online discussions. So, of course, you'll want to clearly outline your expectations about formatting and writing in the rubric if they are a significant part of the activity. Content has large weight in discussion rubrics. Instructors ask students to write their statements, thoughts, and ideas on a very specific topic while providing supporting materials in details. Frequently, instructors will ask students to provide examples to support their statements and ideas in both original postings and in their responses to other students' postings. These requirements help students to learn from their peers, and the rubric should clearly state what level of detail you expect. Discussion in online courses also needs to be monitored to maintain a positive learning environment for all the students. You can include these expectations in a rubric. For certain discussion topics, it will be ideal to create small groups and allow students to collaborate in group discussion areas. For example, with some discussion topics, an instructor may want students with similar interests and career goals to have an in-depth discussion. Or for a different topic, the instructor might group students from different backgrounds together to have a wider discussion and to help each other expand their horizons. In each of these cases, a peer review process should be considered to help you ensure that student participation is occurring in the group discussion. Check with your instructional designer about the details of implementing a peer review process. Here are some tips to help you manage your own workload regarding discussions. Giving solid feedback to students early in the semester is valuable because it lets them know if their posts have the required depth and content desired. Then, for later discussions in the semester, you won't have to provide as much, if any, feedback. You should also know that you don't actually have to read every single post on a given topic. Instead, you can sample them and then use quantitative analytics to provide generalized feedback to the whole class. And when you have small group discussions, often the instructors won't read those at all because the idea is that it's a private or semi-private space for the groups to work together. Discussion forums in online courses can be used in many ways. You can use them at the beginning of the course for course introductions. This is a good way for students to feel connected to each other and to you. You should always have a place for students to ask you questions, and so a discussion forum is a good way to do that because it allows for all students to benefit from your response that you give to a question from one student. Another option is to include a cafe type forum where students can talk about anything they like within reason. Again, this can help students feel connected to one another and gives them a place to talk about personal subjects. And finally, if you expect students to review the work of others in your class, you can ask them to post their work in a designated discussion area. So let's summarize. Here are some of the important things to remember for grading online discussions. Make sure you define measurable rubric categories and spell out the expected results for each level. Share the rubric ahead of time so students know what to expect. Using rubrics to grade online discussions will significantly reduce the time you spend doing it and will provide for fairer grading, which will, of course, lead to overall higher student satisfaction.